So what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper and welcome everybody to today's video. I hope you all are doing well, and for the past couple of days I've been out of town, so I haven't really been home to be playing a lot of PUBG. I've gotten a couple games in, but really not too many at all. However, what I have been keeping up with is the news for PUBG and some of the leaks that have been coming out as well, and I figured that I want to cover these because these are things that you guys need to know about that are going to be in the game at some point. So sit back, relax, we've got a lot to talk about today, and I really need your feedback on the stuff that's coming out too, because this is important as this could completely change the direction of how PUBG is going right now. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, be a lad and drop a like rating. That'd be awesome. If you are brand new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and it is also scientifically proven that if you subscribe here, you will become 10% more attractive. So, I mean, you can't really fight the science. But anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I think we need to talk about are the new weapons and vehicles that have been leaked. Now, I'd say that the majority of players are generally more concerned about new weapons as they directly affect the game and aren't really too bothered about vehicles in general, right? Like, as long as they're there, it almost doesn't matter what they look like or what the different variables between the ones that are already in the game, you know what I mean? But interestingly, we still have two vehicles that we've already seen that are fully textured and still haven't been added to the game anywhere in any capacity. And this is the ZIL truck and then the Volkswagen that's supposed to be drivable in Vikendi, and neither of these have been in the final build of the game. So why is that? Now, we'll get to the ZIL in a minute because I have a pretty interesting theory about that, but as far as like the Volkswagen car, I don't think that this is going to be added in Vikendi at all. I think that they're either going to scrap this or do something different with it and save it later. And for the reason is because they've already added quite a few vehicles that are more compatible with the snow and are sort of winter and Vikendi themed, and they've also had a lot of problems in implementing some of these cars as well. And as far as I'm aware, I think this vehicle was supposed to be the replacement of the Dacia in Vikendi's, and that kind of makes sense as they wanted to retheme that one in particular. So I don't think it's going to happen at this point. I'll be honest, they're either going to save this for later and wait a long time to make sure it's completely functional before they add it to the game, or they're just going to scrap it entirely, and I think it's got to be either of those two options. But with the ZIL truck itself, I actually think that they may save this for the Erangel remaster. You know, when everything is said and done, and if they're going to add new weapons and vehicles to this remaster, this could potentially be something that's in the game. So I would actually look out for this one. And from what we understand, this has been fully textured and functioning pretty much since the release of Miramar, as far as I'm concerned. So I think that we will see it very soon. All right, now moving on to weapons. As you guys know, whatever platform you play on, PC, console, or mobile, PUBG adds new ground weapons all of the time. The newest weapon we got on PC is the MP5. It's a Vikendi exclusive SMG. They've tweaked around some of the other SMGs, the UMP and the Vector, but they're always adding new guns that are common spawns. However, it has been almost forever since we've had anything new in a drop, you know what I mean? And so from what I have been able to tell, finally a new crate weapon is supposedly on the way. And what is this weapon, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's one that we've actually talked about in previous videos, and if you've seen those, if you paid attention, or you even left your input about it yourself, the Desert Eagle is rumored to be coming soon. And if this is true, I think this news is fantastic. I think that drops have been getting kind of stale, as you know, weapons have been removed over time, but nothing has filled their place in that void that they left behind. So this means like you have less motivation in a way to chase drops, and I think that if they added new guns that are specific to this, it would make players jump on the game and for a long time, as they really want to try out these new weapons. And considering this would be the first ever airdrop pistol, this could be a good opportunity to have a weapon that isn't like a traditional primary or secondary, be a weapon that is useful in meta and something that you want to actually use. At the end of the day though, I will say this, even if it's not a Desert Eagle that's a new airdrop weapon, PUBG is in desperate need of new crate guns, as number one, this is a way to add more like speciality and flavor to the game, but also in a way that when you keep adding weapons that are specific to the ground, you still have to balance the loot in a way where there's not too many guns, so it gets a little bit saturated if you just add ground weapons over and over again, and I think crate weapons are really the way to go at this point. If you've got any feedback you'd like to share about what you think would make a good crate weapon and how it would be done, please do let me know in the comment section, and I'm really interested in hearing your feedback on that matter. All right, fellas, now we move on to the update about the leaks of the remastered maps. Now, obviously, most of you guys know about the Erangel remaster already. I made an entire dedicated video about it, so if you'd like some more detailed info on the matter, I did make a video. You can go ahead and watch that as well if you want to get up to speed. But for those of you who are already familiar with what I'm about to talk about, this is something that is interesting because we know generally what's coming in the Erangel remaster from leaks. However, we know that also they plan to remaster all of the other maps at some point as well. And the question remains, what do we want to see in those other remastered maps too? Now, this might be kind of an unpopular opinion, but I don't think really Miramar needs too much tweaking at all. I think it's in a great spot where it is. It maybe could do with slightly more loot, but that's the only thing I would say. Other than that, maybe different circles so that you get to play more of the map, right? You don't really get to play the top, like, northern portion of the map ever, and that pretty much goes for everybody. That's the least played area, and I think that it's kind of a waste if you're going to design that and then not have players play there. So just a little bit of zone tweaking and maybe some loot could be good, but other than that, I think Miramar is good. So what do you guys want specifically out of a Miramar remaster? Do you want them maybe just to overhaul the graphics and maybe change a little bit of the performance things? Do you want new weapons? What is it? I think this is your guys' time to let me know exactly what you would like to see in the game. Okay, so now we need to talk a little bit about the leaked Riot Shield and C4 equipment. And so this is something that I wish I had the full answers on, and we don't. Most of us know the whole deal with the Riot Shield. This was a feature that they showed off in their E3 trailer literally almost an entire year ago when this was posted, and it's obviously still not even in the game, so I don't know what gives. But a lot of people's theories were that this had been canceled, right? They couldn't get it to work properly in the game, and it was just going to be a broken piece of equipment, so they decided to scrap it. However, I've spoken to somebody at PUBG about this, and they still, from what I understand, they still have full plans on implementing this into the game, and they were still working on it from the time that I mentioned that, and that was months ago, but it's still not here, so what's up? There was even a statement from another PUBG employee that said that this is still in development, and they have full plans to release this in the, the final build of the game, but it's still not here. I want to say that was like 4 months ago when that was put out, and we haven't heard anything since, but we know this is supposed to be a feature, otherwise they wouldn't have shown a fully developed thing in a trailer at E3 for all places, you know what I mean? Now, to add to this weirdness a little bit, you guys know Brendan Green, literally the founder of PUBG itself, the heart and soul behind this game, left the actual corporation of Battlegrounds and then moved to PUBG Special Projects. And I don't know a lot about what this company is supposed to do for the game, but this is where he is now, and I'm not sure if this has anything to do with his work. I honestly couldn't tell you exactly what happens there and how they influence the game. All we can really pull from this is that maybe the release of content is under a different management now, and the development of said content is under a different management as well. So maybe PUBG Special Projects has to do with more back-end stuff, and then back at the studio, they're working on the actual game content. Again, this is just a shot in the dark, a little bit of speculation, but it's interesting to see nonetheless, and it really could go a long way explaining a lot having to do with, these items, especially the Riot Shield and a couple others that were supposed to hit the game at some point, but are just nowhere to be found. And so, all things considered, I really think the C4 has to be in the same boat as the Riot Shield. Even though they didn't technically show off the C4 in any trailer, this was a clearly leaked item and was also supposed to be implemented, and it sucks because I genuinely think these two items would be a breath of fresh air for the game. I really think that either both of these, if they were, crate-only weapons, maybe that's what they were intended to be anyways, and that's why we haven't seen any in a while. If that's the case, if that's my theory, then it makes perfect sense, and I really can't fault anybody in particular at PUBG for that. It's just a product of a bad situation, but it would be interesting to see if that was actually the case. All right, guys, and the final leak we got to talk about today is an item that deeply concerns me, to be honest with you. I really think if this got added to the game, it wouldn't feel like PUBG anymore, and I'll explain why. But what the item is, it's an equipment that you can get that essentially allows you to repair your armor. This means your vest and your helmets that have been slightly damaged, you can restore them to full durability. And while that sounds pretty good on paper, it kind of makes me nervous, and I don't think that it's necessarily a good thing, and I'll explain why. But this isn't also even an original concept. Blackout does a thing where your armor in that game can be repaired by armor shards you can find, and you can put it back together if it got beat up in a gunfight. And then Apex Legends kind of does a similar thing where you just have shields and you can repair it just with shield cells or batteries, and it's just one stagnant thing. And while I don't think any of these armor systems are inherently perfect, right, they all have their own set of issues, but I really think that PUBG's is done well, right? I don't think that it really needs to be changed. I think it's one of the strongest features in the game because it's a system that doesn't hold your hand, and it rewards smart and creative play. For example, you always have to consciously make a decision about whether it's a smart idea to trade a dirty higher tier vest for a clean lower tier vest. You have to make that decision based on 100 different variables depending on where the game's at and how many people are left. Basically, if you're down to the last person, if it's a 1v1, if you have a level 3 vest that's one shot from being broken, you'd probably want to wear that instead of swapping to a lower tier level 2, as you only have one gunfight left to take. However, if you have the same armor but the game's at the beginning, you probably want to swap down to the lower tier because you're going to take many more gunfights. It's this creative and you know, conscious thinking plays that make the armor system great, in my opinion. And the worrying thing for me is if this item gets added, the most deep that thought process is going to go is, okay, what corner am I going to find so I can sit there for a couple seconds and repair my armor? You know what I mean? Of all the systems in PUBG that what I would go about fixing first and things that I need to be changed, the armor system is probably the last thing on my list. I think it's done great, and I hardly hear any players complain about armor in this game. It was a huge problem for Blackout, but PUBG was always one of those things that got it right. Armor is one of those things that's so hard to do correctly in a battle royale game, and I really appreciate all the effort that PUBG Corp took into designing this armor system and got it correct. And it's one of those things that is the most balanced of all the BR games, to be honest. I don't think armor needs to be tweaked in the slightest right now, and I really don't think this item is a good idea in its current form. I'd be interested to play with it and just see how it, you know, runs in from match to match, because everything that works on paper doesn't always work in game and vice versa. So maybe we'll see it. Maybe they'll put it on the test server and we can give it a try and then give their feedback. But let me know what you guys think about this item. This is the most important change as far as all these leaks that I'm considering to be something that is game changing. What do you guys think about this item? How would you do to improve it? Do you want it in the game at all, or do you think that this is actually a really good idea? Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below, and I'm of course going to keep you guys updated about the future of this item, as I think that if this gets added before the Riot Shield and the C4, then something is clearly going on with the management over there, and I'm not really sure what the big deal is. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like rating, subscribe if you are brand new around here. Of course, go check out my second channel where I'm doing live streams. Link is in the description, as well as all of my other social media. So go subscribe over to those and follow up, whatever. And one final thing, this is very important. I want to let you guys know that merch is on the way. It's going to be coming very soon, and if you want to give any input on merch, you can go ahead and join my Discord server where I'm sharing off some of the designs. You can give me your feedback, your opinions, whether you think something should be changed or not. And this is important because the final product is almost about to be ready. And if you're excited for the merch, let me know in the comment section down below. But that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you all on the next live stream or the next video. Take it easy, guys, and peace out.